This is my work ID. I work for Well Cornell Medicine on 68th in York. I do comparative pathology research. We deal with biohazardous materials and radiation particles. We inject animals like rhesus monkeys, rats, and mice with diseases and radioactive agents. 2 weeks ago, when I went to work, I noticed the security guards were in Tyvek hazmat suits and they were armed, which is not normal, but I didn't pay it any mind. I go upstairs to work, I clock in. My boss is like, yo, listen, you're not needed, but we need you to surrender your Geiger counter. My Geiger counter was attached to my ID because we deal with radiation emissions in my department on the 7th floor, which is the only department that deals with radiation. But they wanted me to surrender my Geiger counter. When I left work, the only people that were left in my building's facility were the scientists, the professors, the researchers, and security guards that were armed. It's not the virus that's getting people sick. It's 5G network from the radiation. And the reason why they have me surrender my Geiger counter is so if I'm in a proximity of people that have 5G networks, my Geiger counter is going to detect that I'm in a proximity of radiation. That's what's getting people sick. That's what's getting people with respiratory issues. That's why some people are dying. Now, my homie works for Verizon. He got a message via email from corporate instructing him and his 100-man crew to pump 5G network cables throughout the tri-state area, whether buildings or houses were abandoned or not. The letter said, if your crew gets sick, we'll send them home and you keep on working. Don't worry. When they say that the oil is short, you'll be first dibs to get the oil.
The oil to cure.
Exactly.
Look at the rates going up with people with coronavirus. Now, how they diagnosing all these people when they say they ain't got no test?
That have the coronavirus?
Right or wrong?
Facts. Yo, you know what's crazy? The symptoms that they're saying is caused by this virus are the same exact symptoms from radiation contamination. They're talking about loss of taste, loss of smell, hair loss, vomiting, diarrhea. Pretty soon they're going to say a new symptom is blood in your stool and blood in your urine, constant parchness, that you'll have an unquenchable thirst because radiation boils the water molecules in your brain, in your respiratory tract, and in your reproductive system. So don't be surprised when this shit disappears and 10 years later it comes back, because that's what's going to happen. You're sterile and you can't produce.
This is Dr. Cameron Kyle Seidel, ER and critical care doctor from New York City. 9 days ago, I opened an intensive care unit to care for the sickest COVID-positive patients in this city. In these 9 days, I have seen things I have never seen before. In treating these patients, I have witnessed medical phenomenon that just don't make sense in the context of treating a disease that is supposed to be a viral pneumonia. 9 days ago, I presumed I was opening an intensive care unit to treat patients with a virus causing a pneumonia that was ravaging lungs across the world, starting out as something mild, cough, a sore throat, and progressively increasing in severity until ultimately ending in something called acute respiratory distress syndrome, or ARDS. This is the paradigm that every hospital in the country is working under. This is the disease, ARDS, that every hospital is preparing to treat. And this is the disease, ARDS, for which in the next 2 to 6 weeks, 100,000 Americans might be put on a ventilator. And yet, everything I have seen in the last 9 days, all the things that just don't make sense, the patients I'm seeing in front of me, the lungs I'm trying to improve, have led me to believe that COVID-19 is not this disease, and that we are operating under a medical paradigm that is untrue. In short, I believe we are treating the wrong disease, and I fear that this misguided treatment will lead to a tremendous amount of harm to a great number of people in a very short time. As New York City appears to be about 10 days ahead of the country, I feel compelled to get this information out. COVID-19 lung disease, as far as I can see, is not a pneumonia and should not be treated as one. Rather, it appears as some kind of viral-induced disease, most resembling high-altitude sickness. It is as if tens of thousands of my fellow New Yorkers are on a plane at 30,000 feet and the cabin pressure is slowly being let out. These patients are slowly being starved of oxygen. I have seen patients dependent on oxygen take off their oxygen and quickly progress through a state of anxiety and emotional distress and eventually get blue in the face. And while they look like patients absolutely on the brink of death, they do not look like patients dying of pneumonia. I have never been a mountain climber, and I do not know the conditions at base camp below the highest peaks in the world. But I suspect that the patients I'm seeing in front of me look most like as if a person was dropped off on the top of Mount Everest without time to acclimate. I don't know the final answer of this disease, but I'm quite sure that a ventilator is not it. That is not to say that we don't need ventilators. We absolutely need them. They are the only way at this time that we're able to give a little more oxygen to patients who need it. But when we treat people with ARDS, we typically use ventilators to treat what's called respiratory failure. That is, we use the ventilator to do the work that the patient's muscles can no longer do because they're too tired to do it. These patients' muscles work fine. I fear that if we are using a false paradigm to treat a new disease, that the method that we program the ventilator, one based on a notion of respiratory failure as opposed to oxygen failure, that this method, and there are a great many number of methods we can use with the ventilator, but this method being widely adopted at this very moment in every hospital in the country, which aims to increase pressure on the lungs in order to open them up, is actually doing more harm than good. And that the pressure we are providing to lungs, we may be providing to lungs that cannot stand it, that cannot take it, and that the ARDS that we are seeing, that the whole world is seeing, may be nothing more than lung injury caused by the ventilator.
You can't force me to do anything. You can't force me to do anything. I asked for a lawyer, brother. You can't do that. If y'all gonna try to quarantine me or whatever, you can't force me to put anything in my arm. You cannot do that. It doesn't work like that.
You gotta do a workup on you, dude.
It doesn't work like that.
But you're sick, man.
But it doesn't work like that. How do you know I'm sick? You haven't even done a test on me. I'm a man now. Okay, I'm listening.
So the doctors talked to you. They did not feel like you have the capacity to make medical decisions based off their discussion with you. And so
how do I not have that?
That's the
I'm a grown man now. How do I not have the capacity? I felt like I was sick.
Okay, and
I felt like I was sick.
We're the people that can help you.
Okay, but y'all not put a needle in my arm. It doesn't work like that.
Okay,
you can't make me do something against my will. That is not right. I'm a man. We would tear this bitch up right now, bro.
Come on, James.
We would tear this bitch up right now, bro. Don't do that, bro. I'm telling you, bro. I don't want no shot, bro. Y'all gave me shots when I was a kid. I'm a man now, bro. I'm different. I know the difference. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I will tear this bitch up. Do not mess with me, y'all. Please.
Come on, James.
Please, I'm asking you. I'm begging you, brother. Black man, I'm begging you, bro. I'm begging you, bro. Please leave me alone.
On the bed, then.
Please leave me alone. Please leave me alone.
They can give you a shot right here on the chair.
Please leave me alone. Please leave me alone, bro.
Not until you get on the bed.
I'm not getting on that bed.
Man, help me out, bro.
It doesn't work like that, bro. Anybody know a lawyer, bro? Somebody send me a lawyer? Bro, no!
Come on, James.
It don't work like that, man. This shit ain't right, man. Don't put the phone down now, motherfucker. Nah, bro, leave me alone. I don't want no needle in my arm. It don't work like that. No, it does not work like that, bro. No. Y'all need to change mental health awareness, mental health help, all that, man.
James,
no, come on, no, come on, bro. Get your motherfucking hands on me, bro. It don't work like that, bro. I'm gonna tell this bitch up, nigga, on my mama, nigga. Yeah, but nobody wants to do that. Get off me!
Come on, James.
Get off me, bro. It don't work like that. I'm not crazy. You crazy, white man. Leave me alone, bro.
You're crazy.
Yeah, you did.
I think you were maybe afraid. I understand.
I'm not scared of nothing, bro. I'm not scared of doubt, bro. Please leave me the fuck alone, bro. It don't work like that, bro. It don't. Y'all weak in the bitch.
Hey, back here. James, come on. Come on, bro.
You know.
Stop. Relax.
You choking me.
I'm not choking you.
You choking me, bro.
Stop.
You're choking me, bro.
Stop.
Help.
Stop.
Help, man. This shit ain't right, bro.
Stop.
This ain't right. Mother. All right. It's going to be a revolution now. Y'all don't even know what y'all done started. Y'all put that in motion. Yeah.
Shit gotta change in America, bro. This is not right, man. This is not right, bro.